Good morning everyone, this is Azuruko Yamamoto, and this morning I would like to talk about equipment and why I think it's quite important to have equipment on your aircraft. Now, of course a nice way to compare this is to simply look at two aircraft and compare them with and without equipment. And I can actually do so, because right here I have a Spitfire VB-IM, which is a British Tier 6 fighter, and I have the German Tier 6 fighter, the Spitfire. And these are virtually identical aircraft. I say virtually because they are not identical, but they are nearly exactly the same. Now, in order to stress the differences, I will remove nearly all of the equipment from the British Spitfire. I'm only keeping these two on, and in the meantime the German Spitfire has 4 pieces of equipment, and those pieces are also of higher quality. And I'll explain more on the quality in my next video, but in this video I am mainly talking about the effects of high quality equipment and equipment in itself. And in the next video I will talk about how you can get this high quality equipment. So, these aircraft. If we look at the basic statistics, which we can best see through the Spitfire, the British version, the gun armament is rated 16, which is the base score. Survivability has a base score of 6. The airspeed has a base score of 40, I think in both cases also. The maneuverability for this one has a base score of 83, whereas for the German Spitfire the base score is 86. That's a bit of a difference there. And the altitude performance of the British is 37, whereas in the German one it's 54, and that's a significant difference. Now, if we look at the overview here, then there are these arrows indicating that something has changed. It can be either in a good way with a green arrow pointing upwards, or in a bad way with a red arrow pointing downwards. And since I don't have a pilot in here, all of this has to do with equipment. And if we look at the equipment, we can actually see what's going on there. In this particular case, for the British Spitfire, there's a sight, and the sight causes the accuracy of the weapons to be better, but it causes the pilots to die a bit more easily. Basically you can see that here as arrow pointing upwards for the gun armament, and that's plus 8% here, and also the plus 5% critical, which is currently active. And because of those positive effects, and they are only positive, there's just a bonus to the gun armament. And the base rating was 16, it doesn't actually go up from 16, but it's simply improved. If we look at the survivability on the other end, we can see that there are negative effects. And that means that the survivability just goes down a bit, and it was rated at 6, it remains at 6, but it's a lower 6. So say it was 6.2, now it might be 5.8, or a bit less extreme. But that's how that works. And the maneuverability was sitting at 83. Now, due to bonuses in terms of maneuverability, it has actually gone up to 85. So using equipment you can change those values, you can improve which values you think are important, but equipment is generally a trade-off, and if you do it, yeah, you can try to make sure that all of the negatives are concentrated in one spot. For instance, here in the survivability, so only the survivability goes down, or you can try to mitigate it a bit all over the place. But in this case, between the British and the German Spitfire, I did it in the same way, but the German Spitfire simply has more equipment. Now, and it also has better equipment. Now for this case it still goes that these are trade-offs, but the effects of this equipment are larger. The same two pieces, but their effects are way bigger. And also I've introduced 2 additional pieces of equipment, and we can see that here. The gun armament still rated at 16, sorry, but the additional effects are way larger. Survivability now does not only have a negative side but also a positive side, so that's interesting, and it's got quite some high positives, and then again it also has a couple of negatives. The positives are mainly focused on keeping the tails and wings intact, whereas the negatives have to do more with the engine and the pilot. So yeah, that's a true trade-off. In terms of speed, this aircraft accelerates a bit quicker, which causes it to have a plus here. But the cruise speed has gone down and the maximum speed has also gone down. That actually leads to this aircraft scoring a 39 here, whereas the British Spitfire actually scored 40. But now, and this is the true difference, the maneuverability of this aircraft. I said before that the maneuverability of this aircraft actually started out slightly higher than that of the British Spitfire, at 86 rather than at 83. However, in this case it sits now at 95, which is 9 points higher than the base of this aircraft, and I have not put a pilot in here yet. That's for fair comparison. Because in terms of maneuverability, we gain 3 really strong maneuverability effects, each in a different axis, and no, there are no negative effects to the maneuverability whatsoever. And this, for me, basically sums up why you would want to have equipment. Because you can overrule the negative effects so much with the positive effect. If we look at what these scores were, they were 16, 6, 40, 83 and 54 for the German one. And basically what we've done is now say, okay, the survivability is around 6. It's improved on some points but gotten worse on others, but let's say it remains the same. The airspeed has gone down a tiny notch, but the maneuverability and the gun armament have gotten way better. And well, if you can't call that an upgrade, then I don't know what would be an upgrade. In terms of the equipment quality, because this aircraft of course does have some equipment, but it's of lower quality than that of the German Spitfire. I will go over that in my very next video, So if you want to know how you can improve this quality, what you should watch for when improving the quality, etc., please join me for the next video. If you are curious what kinds of equipment are all available, I have a list in a link in the description below, and I will also be making videos in the future on what types of equipment I recommend for various aircraft types. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all around. Thank you very much.